Boogey Man is real, and you found him.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Bearded Horror Review. My name is Dan, aka the Boogey Man, and if things sound slightly different today, it's because I have been gifted a new microphone. A friend of mine gifted me a microphone for my birthday. It was a couple of weeks ago at time of recording, but before I was using all of my professional recording gear for music, so it was set up in a very different way, and he had a USB microphone which was very high quality that he wasn't using anymore, and he's allowed me to have it, and I'm loving it. It's made things a lot easier, so hopefully content creation in the future is going to be a lot easier for you guys. So I'm going to be able to do a lot more episodes quicker, and hopefully it means I'll be able to give you good quality interviews through Skype, and because I've got some Zoom. How old am I? I have some guests who will be coming on the show very soon, and they will be going through Zoom. So hopefully this means it's going to be a better quality, and it also means I'll be able to do video better with better audio. I have been playing with video. I have just released my first video on the Patreon. So I did a video for my most disappointing movie of 2022. And I did it as a video rather than just audio form, and that is on the Patreon now. So if you do want to see that, head over to the Patreon and sign up on there. And I believe it's the Ghoul level or above where you'll get access to that. I really enjoyed making the video, and I'm glad that I've got this microphone now so that I can actually start to do higher quality stuff. I'm constantly trying to get better at this. Like I said, I'm brand new to podcasting, so yeah, this has been fun, and it's really nice of my friend Jake to be able to gift this to me. It's really appreciated, and I'm really thankful for it. Anyway, off with the gushing, off with all that. Let's get back onto the podcast. So this week, I'm going to be doing a movie that has been done by James Wan. Now, the reason I'm doing this is because soon there is going to be a new release. We're going to be getting a brand new Insidious film, Insidious 5, The Red Door. And I am very excited. I don't know how you guys feel about the Insidious films, but I am a big fan. I've always been a big fan. I even like the fourth one, which a lot of people don't like. But I found it quite fun. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to this fifth one. I'm guessing it's going to wrap up the original first two and turn it into a trilogy. Because the other two after that were kind of more based on the medium's character rather than the family. I guess they kind of tried to end it after two, but they've decided to come back and do it after three, as it turns a trilogy. But before this, James Wan released a film not long ago, so he's done quite a few films. He did the Saw series as a writer, director, and then producer and executive producer. He's done the Insidious films, he's done the Conjuring films, and he has worked on other projects as, a writer or a producer in some kind of way. So I am very excited to see what he kind of comes up with next. But he has produced films such as Lights Out, and he also produced Mortal Kombat. Yeah, as I've said in previous episodes, I don't usually write this stuff down or have notes out, but I've actually got IMDb here for once, so I can actually see what he's actually done. So he said he's done that. He was producer on Malignant as well, but he recently produced something else. His most recent production was M3GAN, or M3GAN if you're American, or M3GAN if you're an asshole like me. And so I decided I'm going to do a review of M3GAN. I'll stop calling it that. A review of M3GAN, however you want to say it. I actually haven't seen this movie yet. I wanted to go see it when it came out, but unfortunately I wasn't able to go. Now it is on Amazon now, and I'm going to rent it and watch it. So I actually haven't watched it yet. Before jumping in, I decided to jump on here and do this little preamble. I have no super high expectations of the film. I have heard good things and bad things. It kind of to me just looks like a bit of a fun romp. The idea of a robot gone bad. It is not something that is wholly original, but it just looks like a bit of fun. So I'm going to pause this, and I will come back to you once I have watched the film, and I'll do a recording straight afterwards. So I'll see you on the other side. And I am back. I have just watched M3GAN. I can't stop calling it M3GAN. I've just watched M3GAN. So we're going to go from non-spoilers review, and then we're going to go into a spoiler review. I will put a time code down below if you don't want to hear spoilers. However, it's not saying much. Okay, so let's get into this. So non-spoilers from now. So M3GAN is about a young girl whose parents are tragically killed in a car crash. And as a result of this, she goes to live with her auntie, and her auntie is a toy developer. And her auntie is developing a toy. It is basically like a companion doll. And it is a living doll that is basically the same age as her niece. And she creates this living interactive doll that ends up pairing with the niece, and then things happen from there, which is a classic basically technology gone wrong plot. I just watched it, and honest to God, I was so bored. It has its moments, but it didn't entertain me really. I found all of the interesting moments I saw in the trailer, so I wasn't really shocked by anything that I saw or kind of entertained by it because I had already seen it. And like I said, I usually avoid trailers, but this trailer for this was absolutely everywhere, so I couldn't really avoid it. And yeah, I didn't really see the appeal of it. It was okay in regards to acting and stuff. It's fine. Acting's all fine. A lot of money clearly went into it. The production values are good. But it is very much a technology gone wrong film. And I found it very rinse and repeat from other films that I've seen before with this premise, but wasn't as good. And yeah, I was just kind of bored by it. It's 45 minutes before anything actually happens with M3GAN. And a lot of that time is spent, they're building the relationship with M3GAN and the young girl. And they're building up this whole thing of, the auntie she's been thrust into this motherhood role. And there's some things in there that kind of annoyed me, that they're just silly stereotypes that they're played out. Like, this has happened a million times before, and it's been said a million times before. Maybe don't just do the same thing all the time. And some of the acting in this film, though, was shocking. There's one particular actor that I thought was absolutely terrible. But there's some good things about it. The actual model of M3GAN and the creation of this character is very well thought out. It's very well done. The voice and the acting is very good, and the physical presence of this character there, M3GAN, is a very well realized effect. It is good. However, the film itself is just lacking. It is very sparse in its parts. So there's, like I said, 45 minutes before something happens. I'm assuming that this thing that happens is supposed to create further, excuse me, that's how bored I am by this, create further kind of tension, and that's where it escalates from this one moment. But there's just a lot in it that I can't believe, couldn't get behind. I found all the best bits were in the trailer. And yeah, it was very predictable. And I just got bored. For me, it was a 5 out of 10. Like I said, it's obviously had some good money behind it, produced by James Wan. So it's got clout, and it's clear that they tried, but they just didn't have enough there to make this a good movie. In my opinion, for me, it was not entertaining. So that'll end the non-spoilers. So let's go into spoilers from now. So the film kind of starts with our niece. It starts with an advert for like a toy. There's a pet that it's kind of like a Furby. It interacts with an iPad and it's constantly learning, and it's like, oh, it's the kid's new favorite toy. And the toy is a pain in the ass. Like, no parent would actually buy their kid this toy that just talks constantly and is controlled by an iPad and just is not good. Sorry if there's a few pops as well, by the way. I'm still kind of getting the ins and outs of this microphone. So I've noticed I might need a filter for it. But yeah, sorry about that. It's still great quality. Yeah, no parent in their right mind would buy the child this toy because it's so annoying and loud. And just, no, you don't buy your kid a loud toy. And when people buy your kid loud toys, you want to kill them. I don't have kids myself, but I know. Trust me, I know. And then it goes to our aunt character, our main character, and she is developing this doll, which is M3GAN. And she's been doing it in secret. Because her boss wants her to create a more cost-friendly version of the toy that they already make, which is this weird Furby thing. And she's got the prototype, and it goes wrong, and she realizes that things aren't there, so she scraps it. And then we cut to our niece character, and what happens to our niece character is, unfortunately, as her father and her mother are driving to a ski lodge, they realize the car can't do the drive. The snow is too much for them. It's quite a dangerous drive, and they stop. And when they stop, they get hit by a plow because the plow just plows into them. Oh, for fuck's sake. And then it's a month later, and Megan is moving in with, not Megan, the niece is moving in with the aunt. And when you do this, when this is happening, we find out that the aunt has got a neighbour who's kind of chatty and over familiar with our main female character, the aunt, and she's got a dog, which is a big dog, and it keeps coming onto her yard, the aunt's yard, and it's a very aggressive dog, and she's like, can you keep the dog on your yard? And also see that this woman sprays her garden with pesticides, and it's like, stop getting your chemicals on my yard, stop getting your dog on my yard, stay off my property. And we go from there, and we realise that the aunt realises that she is not equipped to be a mother. And why would she be? She's a single, independent woman who has not had to be a parent figure at all in her life at any point. So why would she all of a sudden be really good at parenting? She wouldn't. And this is where, like I said, some stereotypes and stuff have been played out. Happen where she is a toy designer and she loves technology, obviously, and her house is full of collectibles, and everyone's like, "Oh, look, you've got toys." She's like, "Oh, these are collectibles," and I was like, "That's weird." Like, it's not weird. It's not a thing. It's one of the biggest industries in the world. Many adults like to collect. It literally Star Wars is built around selling collectibles. So I just find this weird that like they still think like, adult collecting things. Oh, bloody weirdo. No, it's not weird, and it's such an old like kind of stereotype. And this whole thing of like, oh, she doesn't know how to interact with kids, and she has collectibles, and they're not actually allowed to be played with, and like. No, it just wouldn't. No, people. No, it's not like that. So stop it, please stop it. And so the aunt makes the stupid decision of going, well, I can't parent this person. I'm not very good at this. So what I will do is I will go back to my M3GAN project and start it up again, get it working, and I will present M3GAN to my niece, and she can help parent her, and she can help look after her, because I don't know what I'm doing. And that's what happens. So the niece kind of becomes imprinted, as it were, with this doll, M3GAN, and M3GAN kind of starts interacting with the niece, and they become very fast friends very quickly, which you can imagine a girl going through a giant trauma needed some comfort, and she's found comfort in this doll. And one of the plot lines is M3GAN is imprinted to the niece, so she only listens to the niece, she'll only do things for the niece. And as it goes on, and they're running diagnostics on M3GAN and stuff after this this thing, they're trying to see how she's been getting on, how she's working. The aunt character realizes she made a mistake. She didn't upload certain software. She didn't upload certain things. She didn't implement certain things into the code of M3GAN, and she fucked up a bit. And M3GAN kind of starts doing things on her own. She's basically been imprinted with a learning algorithm that the auntie doesn't quite understand. And as you can imagine, that does not go well. M3GAN starts doing things that she wasn't supposed to be doing. She starts downloading information she wasn't supposed to. She doesn't listen when she gets told to turn off or to stop talking or shut down. And as the film goes on, you find that the aunt character is kind of just stopping paying attention. She's like letting M3GAN do all the parenting, and that's not a good thing. And it's also obvious the niece is getting very, very attached to M3GAN. I will keep calling her M3GAN. I'm sorry, but it's M3GAN. I do not care. It's M3GAN, baby. Anyway, and this starts growing. She eventually starts. The aunt character eventually starts to realize that maybe this isn't a good idea. However, it's a little too late. And like I said, about 45 minutes in, something happens where the neighbor who's got the big dog has let the dog out in the yard, and our niece character is playing bow and arrow. She's got a bow and arrow, like suction cups on, and Megan is just watching her. I said Megan and not M3GAN. M3GAN is just watching her, and the niece loses one of the arrows. And M3GAN sees that it has. She finds it, and she sees that it's gone through a hole in the fence that leads onto the yard of the woman with this big dog. M3GAN reaches through to grab the bow, and the dog starts attacking M3GAN's arm. and pulls her through the hole. And as she pulls her through the hole, he then starts biting the back of her neck, and that causes a spark to go off. There's your indication that something has gone wrong and M3GAN is going to start getting worse. The niece tries to get M3GAN back through the hole. She ends up getting pulled further through the hole, and the dog bites her. While all this is happening, the auntie is watching something on YouTube with headphones on, so she doesn't hear it. She eventually hears it, goes out and helps. M3GAN is seemingly okay, but a bit dishevelled. The niece has a big bite on her arm. Police are called, and they say there's nothing they can do because she was technically on their property. I'm pretty sure in America they would just be like, yeah, let's fucking kill this dog. I mean, it's attacked someone, like, regardless of the situation. It's attacked a child. Like, I'm pretty sure they've killed dogs for less. I'm sorry, America. I'm joking, of course. Like, it's just a plot point, like that the dog doesn't get taken away, doesn't get put down, anything like that. Later that night, M3GAN uses voice modulation and manipulation to emulate the owner's voice to kind of lure the dog away from the home and kills the dog. We don't really see it. We just know that that's what happens. Next day, auntie takes the niece to a school for special children. Now, it's brought up very, like, kind of quickly that this niece character doesn't go to school. She never did go to school because she said, my mum doesn't want me to go to school. I'm learning at home, and I'm learning more with M3GAN than I was learning with my mum. I'm learning loads, like, because it's an interactive doll. It's basically connected to the internet, so it has all the information. But, you know, the auntie character's like, no, I want you to go to school. I found this super cool school for people just like you who are dealing with trauma and they don't get on with normal schools. So they go to this open day. And this open day is full of kids, and she wants to take M3GAN with her, but she's not allowed. She's like, you can take her, but you have to leave her with the toy table. So M3GAN is just watching her all day. And we're introduced to a young boy, a young teen boy, who's called, he's special. And I don't know about you and your kids, but if I said this to my mum, I would have been punished severely. There's a bit where she's like, hey honey, that's my son over there. He's a special boy. Hey honey, do you need your coat? Have you had enough to feed and everything? He goes, oh, will you fuck off, mom? I would have been beaten to death. Like, what the hell? It's clear that this kid is a little shit. And this is something that is spoiled in the trailers. Sorry, sniffles. And M3GAN is just watching this happening, watching the niece character kind of play, and she kind of wanders off, and the boy wanders off, and she watches this, and the teen boy, they go into the woods, essentially, that's nearby this, wherever they're doing this thing, and the teen boy bullies our niece character. And obviously M3GAN shows up, and she is not happy about this. And the boy is trying to get this M3GAN to talk and to interact, and he's like, he pushes it to the floor and he starts slapping it, and like, you're just rubbish. You're not. He starts hitting it, starts trying to take its clothes off, and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? What is wrong with this kid? Is this a Stephen King story? Because this kid is a fucking diabolical monster. And M3GAN starts to wake up and starts threatening them. You shouldn't act like this. Boys who act like this grow up to be naughty men. And she rips his ear off, and then she starts to chase him through the woods. And as she's chasing him, and they go through the woods, and she pushes him into the road, and he gets hit by a car, and the kid gets killed. We're over an hour in at this point, and like, this is the only two things that have actually happened. We've spent an hour building a relationship, which is, I get, but it's taken too long. I was so bored by this point. And again, this bit's in the trailer. The dog bit wasn't in the trailer, but this bit was in the trailer. So I've seen it. So again, I'm not excited. I'm not entertained. I'm like, okay, I've seen this. Something else happened. And obviously the police are involved and talked about. And then they take her home, and the police show up at her door again. So they go home and the auntie's house, and the police show up at the auntie's house because the woman has said that her dog is missing. And yeah, so that's kind of called into play. And then that night, M3GAN decides to lure the woman out by emulating her dog, and she lures her into her garage, and she kills the woman there. Did you hear that Netflix thing? That is someone else in the house. Jesus Christ, how loud have they got it? Anyway, oh my god. And the woman gets killed. Again, we barely see anything. Nail goes into her hand from a nail gun, and also, if you are in the know, that's not how nail guns work. Nail guns aren't guns. And then she starts spraying her with the pesticides, obviously that got brought up earlier, and then cuts the next day. Police are showing up again. M3GAN is getting more and more kind of argumentative with the aunt character. She's not shutting down. She's been very strange. She's been very unusual. And she starts to worry that something is wrong. There is then a scene later on where M3GAN comes to talk to the auntie. She's using a different voice at first. She's acting strangely. Excuse me. I got the sniffles. Hay fever, man. And she comes to talk to the auntie and have a it's where that you've probably seen in the trailer where she goes, I thought we were having a conversation. That kind of thing happens. And the auntie is obviously very scared at this point because M3GAN is supposed to be trying to be very threatening. And it is very threatening. And it's supposed to be threatening. M3GAN is supposed to be passive-aggressively threatening. Our auntie character, almost acting like, I'm going to take care of her from now on. I am her mother now, and I will look after her until the day she dies. Maybe you shouldn't be looking after her. You're not equipped for this. You are not good enough to look after her. And they shut her down. She manages to shut her down. She's got this pen thing where she's able to shut her down manually. And she decides to pack her up and go this is not something is clearly very wrong. I didn't mention this earlier, but one kind of thing that's happened is the owner of the toy company has seen M3GAN in action interacting with the niece. The auntie is basically using the niece as a tester for this toy. And it's a bit inappropriate, but hey, it works. But, excuse me, I'm so sorry about this one, guys. I can't stop sniffing. He's like, yeah, this is our next big thing. We're going to make this toy. It's going to be amazing. When I talked about in non-spoilers about the acting, the owner of this company, whoever he is, absolutely awful actor. It was atrocious acting. Honestly, every line, every action, it genuinely felt like I was watching a teen high school play. He was terrible in it. Absolutely awful actor. I don't understand how he got this part, because he cannot act. Anyway, he's trying to put this expo on, but it's the day before the launch, and the auntie character is panicking. So she takes the M3GAN, she wraps her up and puts her in the trunk and drives her to the building. Has to take the niece with her. The niece is freaking out. She's desperate to have M3GAN. She's desperate to talk and have M3GAN talk to her, have her toy back. And it's very clear that the niece, has become extremely attached to M3GAN. And not only become extremely attached, She's using her as a crutch instead of dealing with her trauma from her parents' death. And that's very obvious that that's what's going on. This kid is not dealing with her emotions and she's projecting them onto M3GAN. And now M3GAN has been taken away and she feels like her parents have been taken away again. It's obvious to me. Anyway, there's another thing throughout the film that I mentioned, that every so often the niece talks to a child psychiatrist or a social worker. Obviously her parents are dead and she's now living with her aunt, and they have to make sure that her aunt's home is suitable and her aunt is a suitable parent. And this is one of the things about, like, she plays with collectibles. These toys aren't to be played with. That's not very good parenting. Like, it is. It's fine. Because adults are allowed to have things for themselves. And then kids have their own toys. Like, that's a normal thing. But they portray it as that's not normal and you should let kids just do whatever they want and play with whatever they want. And they get to the offices, and the niece is sat with this social worker, and the niece is freaking out. She's screaming that she wants M3GAN, and she's having a proper fit. The aunt tries to go in there and calm her down, and the niece slaps the auntie. And it's very obvious that the line has been crossed. So the auntie goes to the social worker. Can you leave us alone, please? She has a chat with her, and this is when we get the whole, I know you miss your parents. I know you love M3GAN. And she goes, oh, when I'm with M3GAN, I don't feel those feelings. So, well, you have to feel these feelings. Our auntie tries to convey that you need to feel these emotions, otherwise you're never going to get past them. And that's why you're feeling this way. That's why you're lashing out at me. And instantly she's fine. She's fixed. She's cured. She's been a good mother all of a sudden. And M3GAN is down in the basement having diagnostics run on her. And it turns out that M3GAN turned herself on and she's going to go on a killing spree. She wakes up and she kills a couple of people in the room. The other people that have been working with the auntie in her lab, there's two other people, a woman and a guy. They both die. And this is where you get the dance scene that's in the trailers, where she's dancing down the hallway and she pulls the blade off the thing. Of the guillotine, and this results in the boss, the terrible acting guy. He gets killed, and then there's another guy who's in the elevator. He gets killed, and M3GAN looks like suicide. Those are the only kills in the film, by the way. While this is happening, the auntie doesn't know. After they had this conversation with each other in the offices, she decides to take the auntie decides to take the niece home, takes her home, puts her to bed. She's like, we're going to get past this, but we're going to do it properly. We're not going to do it with toys anymore. While she's sat and chilled on her own, the child's in bed, auntie's in the kitchen. M3GAN shows up. Don't know how she got there so fast, but she did. M3GAN shows up, and she is clearly not happy, and she starts attacking the auntie, but she's not killing her straight away because the niece can hear it. She's basically saying, you're not in this picture anymore. I'm going to be her mother. You can't take care of her. I'm going to be with her forever. And this is when the classic scuffle happens. And the robot starts getting bits knocked off of her, and they're fighting back, and it turns out she's pretty indestructible. And it just keeps going like that. And then the niece gets involved. She uses another one of the auntie's kind of projects, was this robot that you control with Wi-Fi gauntlets. She turns that on and uses that to attack M3GAN. I've said M3GAN, M3GAN. I've said all three now. And obviously it's not enough. It does fake out thinking they've won, and they didn't. And there's a scuffle and a fight, and M3GAN gets all of her face ripped off and bits pulled off of her, and you see that there's like a power source in her face, and that's obviously the MacGuffin of the thing to destroy. And the auntie and the niece are fighting, and they're trying to survive, and it looks like M3GAN's going to kill both of them. And the niece stabs the M3GAN right in the thing that needs to stop her, and it kills her. And it kind of goes from there. It kind of goes to a nice soppy ending where everyone's happy and toys aren't happening like they were anymore, and it looks like she's going to be a good mom. And then there's a piece of technology in the house that kind of is focused on, and it moves. And I think that's supposed to hint that M3GAN might still be alive in the ether. And then it's the end of the film. Like I said in my non-spoiler review, I found this film very boring. Not a lot happens in this film. It's 1 hour and 40 minutes. It's 45 minutes before anything actually happens. It's another 20 minutes after that before something else happens. And then everything that happens in the next 15 minutes, there's these big gaps in the middle where they're trying to have like these interactive moments, and they're trying to build the characters, they're trying to build the relationships, but it was boring. I was so bored, and like I said, there was some good acting in it, but there's also some terrible acting in it. There's some subplots that aren't very good. Like there's the guy who was in the elevator who M3GAN made it look like he was going to kill him. He killed himself. He stole the tech for M3GAN, and was obviously going to sell it to another toy company. The plot of that, it's like, where does that go? It doesn't go anywhere. It's just there. The kind of premise that she just happened to be able to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on this tech just in the basement with nobody watching her. Like, I don't think that would happen. She's using technology she doesn't understand. Again, I just found it boring. Like, it's been so long doing this boring thing, and like, again, the stereotypes and the kind of the bad acting and the bad kind of time jumps and it was just like there was hardly anything in it. And the kills and the bits, we've seen them all because they were all in the trailers. They've shown the best bits, so they've spoiled it all for you. It's very predictable. It is every single AI gone wrong film you have ever seen. And like the whole things about the trauma and how the niece is struggling with it, and then she just happens to get over it, and how the auntie feels like she'll be a terrible mother, and she isn't doing a good job, and she doesn't like the idea of having the kid there, and then all of a sudden she loves it. It's very like all over the place emotionally. So yeah, I just didn't think it was very good. It didn't entertain me. In my opinion, it was not a very good film. I don't think it would have gotten anywhere if it didn't have the James Wan name on it, in all honesty. Yeah, so 5 out of 10. There was some good moments in it, like some good acting, but there's also some bad acting. It looks good. It's a good looking film. It's well directed, but it's just empty. Like nothing happens for so much of it. So it's not one I would want to watch again. Hopefully Insidious 5 is not as bad as this film. But yeah, that's my review for the film, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what your thoughts were on the film, on M3GAN. You can actually email me now. The email is linked in the show notes, but it's thebeardedhorrorreview@gmail.com. You can actually contact me now to send over any thoughts or anything you had. If you want to support the channel, you can do simply by just going to my Instagram at the Boogey_Man_DH, and you can like the posts I put up about this. If you can share however you're listening to this, whether you're on Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, whatever you're listening to on, share it with a friend or share it on social media. That'd be awesome. If you can leave a 5-star review, that would be amazing. That would really, really help out. And if you want to support this channel further, you can go up to Patreon. I have a Patreon for now, which has got it's got video kind of essays, I suppose, and it's got exclusive movie reviews up there, and other podcasts episodes that I put up solely for that. It's available from a little $3 a month. It helps me keep the lights on. It helps me keep buying and renting films to be able to go and review. Any support from you guys would be greatly appreciated. And like I said, you get rewards like extra, like I put my first video up, and you get extra podcast episodes, and you get things like you get access to the Discord server. And you will even, depending on what tier you're on, you'll get a shout out on the show and get to ask me a question that I will read out on an episode. But yeah, any support you can give, guys, even if it's just a like or a share on social media. Oops, excuse me. It helps so much, and I really appreciate everyone who listens to this. Any feedback or any comments you have for me, I take it all in, and I greatly appreciate everybody's support. But that's it from me, guys. I will leave it there. And until the next one, happy watching.
It's all true. The Boogeyman is